I just want to welcome everybody today to a new session that we have. It's called Game Development and VFX Production in the Hybrid Work Environment. Today, we're joined by Lokesh Batra from Nvidia, Jonas Skug from Goodbye Kansas, and then myself, Kevin Ottemeyer from Terradicino. I'll be your host as we kind of walk through how to maintain and expand productivity with Wacom devices, Nvidia, and some other applications that we have within a hybrid work environment. So really one of the things that we want to discuss today is how some of the studios are making a transition from permanent on-prem to more of a hybrid work environment. And today I wanted to kind of tap into Jonas first to talk about, what did Goodbye Kansas do to get to a more scalable, efficient, and more productive work environment as they had to move to a more hybrid type of topology. So Jonas, question for you really quick. Why did Goodbye Kansas feel the need to move to a remote or hybrid work environment and to leverage more collaboration?
We at Goodbye Kansas, I think we were really quick about adopting a remote solution for our employees. So we basically sent all of the employees home. I think it was during the spring when it hit us. We tried to send home all the monitors and computers and whatever the artist needed to be able to work from home. We upgraded the bandwidth to the office. We adopted a remote solution with Terradicino and HP. So and that worked really well. So we have been working from home. The entire workforce has been working remotely this entire, is it 1.5 years now during the pandemic? I think it goes by so fast, but
yeah, I lost track of time.
yeah, I don't know, but it's been a really long time, but mainly it is of course because of the pandemic that we have been focusing on remote work. We did use our remote workflow before the pandemic, because we are a digital company. We deliver cinematics to all the main AAA studios in the world. So we actually used Terradicino even before the pandemic. So we had a PC over IP solution already to check on renders, do some minor look dev work, etc. But not in the scale that we do now. Now everything is done remotely, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And, I ran across a couple studios myself, and, I was the solutions architect for the West Coast almost all throughout the beginning of the pandemic. So I worked with, all the big VFX, animation, pre and post-production studios, game development studios, and it was a mad rush, right, to try to figure out a solution that's going to accommodate this new work environment, because we never really knew how long that was going to last. And that's what it comes down to, is we needed to secure a solution for now. But now that we're outside of that, we need to secure that solution for the future. And the future is really one of those things where we talk about a hybrid work environment where people are like, well, I know that we have to go back to the office, and that's fantastic. We love to collaborate in person, but there are going to be circumstances where we need to hire talent that would like to work from home, or they can't make it into the studio. And that's one of the big things is geographic talent locations. It's trying to find somebody in your own hometown or where the corporate headquarters are at, or even if you have satellite offices, they're not always attainable. So they could be in a different location, and you want to make sure that you can secure that talent. And being able to do that is being flexible with where people can work. And so, building this was just a prerequisite foundation to this new type of work environment. And that's what's really exciting. And Lokesh, I was just kind of curious, when we start talking about, enhanced graphics workloads, things that Jonas and the team are working on, what's Nvidia doing today to kind of help make that transition into this new hybrid work environment?
Nvidia has always had a big presence in the gaming industry. With the virtual workstation product, what we are doing is enabling GPU acceleration to virtualized workloads. So what game studios can do is set up a data center and then set up some servers in a data center, and then carve out virtual machines to run workloads that the artists and other employees can collaborate and work. The idea is to provide the same user experience and performance as they would see in a physical setup, but now with the advantages of working remotely, of being in a virtualized environment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same like for us as well, because we are like a worldwide company. We have artists coming in from around the world. Same with outsourcing vendors. So having them being able to tunnel into our pipeline and work as in-house artists is a really good benefit for us. Because before the pandemic, all freelancers or remote artists had to be off-site and work on their local machines under NDAs. We still have NDAs, but everything was ingested into the pipe, which tasks one more artist to one does the work, one ingests it and does the work in-house. Now those artists can tunnel in directly into our pipeline and set up everything for the lighters and for the look devers to have a streamlined pipeline.
Yeah, that's incredible, and
No.
it's really what it comes down to is we're looking at two things, right? We're actually solving two problems. One is so normally you would have to copy files from one location to another, right? So if Jonas, you mentioned earlier that the original plan, which was you were using Terradicino, but it was pre-Terradicino before you really had everything lined out, which was ship everything to the artist's location, have them run their workstations there, copy the files down, edit, copy them back up, and have somebody else check that in, check that out. And so there was a lot of time in between there, right? And I think that's one of the first problems that we solved is taking that machine, sending it back to the office, or not shipping it anymore to the artist and keeping that in the data center or in the office, and then having them remote to that. So there's just only pixels being sent back and forth, and pixels take a lot less time than it does to copy a file from data center to home back to data center again. So as far as that's concerned, what did people say about that user experience? Did they feel like it was even more enhanced now that everything was at the edge and things happened a little faster? Or what kind of feedback did you get from the artists on that?
No, I think it was a really great improvement when we really ramped up with the Terradicino HP solutions. Because before we couldn't do any artistic work. Like we didn't have any pressure sensitivity on our Wacom tablets, or we couldn't have those fine lines that you need. We do in our pipeline texturing work, we do sculpting work, which needs like pixel precision. So nowadays when we have like this low uh, latency from computer to computer, we can have those fluid lines and sculpt and texture which should work, and that's a big difference from pre-pandemic.
Anybody who's creating high graphic content remotely, when they're doing that, now that they have everything at the edge, things happen so much faster. And actually, to feed into that collaboration, when people are collaborating on single product, even at once or maybe at the same time, and they're coming in and they're able to collaborate on the same file or project, they're starting to see that there's advantages to having everything there instead of having things in different locations, right?
We don't have any files now off-site. We work, every files are within the office, so no one can steal that information from us. Let's cut the internet connection and you can take the computer. We don't care.
Yeah. It's almost disposable at this point, right? So you can have a very, very disposable endpoint, something that's has the Terradicino client on it, connecting to the remote workstation, which is wherever it is in a secured environment, with our agent installed, and there's no data sitting there. So let's say somebody's working in a coffee shop and they get up and they go grab a coffee and they come back, no laptop anymore. Before that would be a huge risk, a huge concern. There might be some red content on there. You'd have to go through IT security. IT security would have to jump through a bunch of hoops. And then there'd be a bunch of worry behind the scenes. Something would get leaked. Now it's like, oh, well, everything's in the data center. So I guess we just give you a new laptop. So that's pretty awesome that we can be that secure now with streaming some of our content. And Lokesh, I just wanted to kind of jump into some of the options that you have for these studios to kind of help enhance the experience of some of these artists. I know there's some new features out there that Nvidia is working on. There's new graphics cards that they're using that kind of help with some of the new ray tracing and DLSS and things like that. What is Nvidia doing today to a next and a new experience for the content consumers?
Our current generation of enterprise cards is the Ampere architecture. Uh, what the enterprise solution for called the virtual workstation actually provides several advantages to customers, to game studios such as Goodbye Kansas. Primarily, what it provides is that the drivers are certified to work on applications that these customers regularly work on, such as Maya, Blender, ZBrush. So the system will provide a consistent performance all day because they are server class cards. They have better airflow as well as certification of software. So they are well tested and certified on enterprise cards.
That's great.
We have new features that we are launching, particularly DLSS, which is deep learning super sampling. What that actually does is it allows the GPU, the artist to actually render in a lower native resolution on the GPU and use AI on tensor cores to super sample or have a super resolution to 4K, 8K, whatever. Make what that enables is that uh, you 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 can actually service more virtual machines, more users on the same GPU because you are actually rendering in a lower resolution.
Oh, that's great. So just getting some more density, honestly, out of the GPUs that you either, that you're looking at as far as the Ampere series goes, getting that density out of there so you can get some ROI out of some of those that you're purchasing, right? And I
Yep.
think leading up to what you said, Lokesh, is the applications that we're feeding to some of the artists so they can be productive. Jonas, like, what are some of the applications that you found that your studio and some of the other studios are now leveraging to be able to do some of that remote work?
Since we're a cinematic company, we do everything from start to finish within our productions. So we have an art department utilizing like Photoshop and art applications. For me, being a lead character artist at Goodbye Kansas, I have the character timeline to follow. So we do sculpting in mainly ZBrush, in Mudbox as well. We do our texturing work within Substance Painter and some in Mari as well. We transition into shading work. We do nowadays we use Houdini as our main software, and we have V-Ray as the renderer. And Comp, of course, uses Nuke, but we use a vast variety of softwares within our company. That's just picking a few of them, of course. But it would be interesting as well because we are a GeForce company. Most of our graphic cards are GeForce cards, and we all know, like working with 3D, we have crashes like all the time. So for me, it would be really interesting to see like the enterprise cards, to see how much we can shave off from that, restarting the applications, losing that time during the day, because in the end, in my mind, that would earn money with a one-time cost instead of battling with constant crashes, in my mind.
The advantage that enterprise cards bring in this case is that a lot of VFX animation that you guys are doing requires very large data sets, very large high resolution textures and complex geometry. So
Yep.
the enterprise cards bring in the added advantage of giving you of having larger graphics memory at hand so that they can service all of these high compute requirements. And as I mentioned, having certification and support for these applications is critical, which would actually help you reduce on these errors that you're getting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we at Terradicino are even taking advantages of some of the micro sub features that these Nvidia cards have, especially the Ampere series. Our technology, PC over IP Ultra, which is a part of our CAS software package, actually leverages a piece called the NVINC chip that sits on that Nvidia card to do GPU offloading. So what we do is we take our agent and our agent's algorithm when it does the encoding, it actually does some of the encoding offloaded to that chip. So what that does is about 25% to 30% of that encoding is done at the GPU level on that chip and compared to on the CPU of the machine. So when you think about it, you're saving a lot of CPU cycles, which are very important to those artists. When you talk to an artist is like, "Don't take my CPU away," right? They're like, if you ever switch something out, you're looking at resources, but CPU is by far the pinnacle of resources that people look for when they're creating content. So we like to understand that, and we've listened over the years, and we've leveraged some of those awesome tools that Nvidia has already to conserve some of that CPU. And that's done in our Ultra protocol, in our GPU offload and our auto offload features. So I know that, Jonas, you guys have been using, our CAS agent on those machines, and you've been leveraging some of the cool tools and efficiencies that we're creating inside of our protocol. We also have a really cool feature called local termination. And what local termination does, it's a proprietary piece that goes onto the agent and the client. So there's a part in our client, there's a part in our agent that communicates with any of those Wacom devices that the artists are using. What it does is it creates a better experience, a low latency to zero latency experience between the tablet and wherever the remote machine is. So when you look at a Wacom device, right, you're like, okay, I've got this Wacom device and it's plugged into this endpoint that has a client, right? I'm not doing any application work on that endpoint where the client's at. All the applications are sitting in the data center. How can this thing really give me a good experience? Because there's so much distance between this device where the agent's installed and where the machine's at, where the applications actually reside in the data. But what we did was we created that proprietary technology with Wacom that we're able to give that super awesome experience, because that's what's really important when it comes down to an artist is latency will destroy efficiency. And that's one of the things that we listen to, right? If an artist is painting or doing something in ZBrush and they're swinging across with their pen, and there's this much of a gap between their pen and where the line is on the screen, they can't play catch up like that. An artist can't work like that.
Exactly,
I've seen it before in person, standing over the desk at a game studio, and I'm like, wow, this is a bad experience. And then we enable local termination, and it's just smooth and fluid. Have you had any feedback from any of your artists on that experience at all, Jonas? I'm just kind of curious.
Obviously, it depends on your own connection as well. That's something we can't do anything about. But for the artists I've spoken to, and for me personally, I have like almost zero input lag when I do the cursor drawings, and that's something that we're gonna show you guys as well, how it actually works in real time. So I have only positive experience with both pressure sensitivity and like really low input lag for both sculpting and texturing.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And when you think about the geographic challenge that you have to overcome when you're talking about latency, and I think most people that are listening and watching, they know what latency is, right? It's the distance from where the compute cycles are at with the application and the data, your edge, to where the client is, and that could be hundreds, thousands of miles away. And you can't beat speed of light, right? You can only move data and pixels so fast, but we do trick speed of light. And that's one of the things too, is it's behind the scenes, making sure that we're doing some more predictive analysis. We're leveraging the ability to do more analytics and AI to understand what the artist is actually doing and to be able to predict what's going to happen next. And that's what's built into local termination with Wacom. And this has provided a nice demo for us. And we'll play that throughout this demo and this conversation, so you can kind of see what that looks like. And so, I know that we've covered a lot of topics today, and there's a lot of great conversations to be had here, right? We only have so much time to be able to do it, but I really kind of want to talk about the future, and that's what's really important to us. What is the future of Goodbye Kansas?
We're gonna start with the remote solution for sure. So I can backtrack. During the pandemic, we're a cinematic company, VFX company. We do TV series, cinematic work, feature film work, basically everything that's 3D and VFX related. So we have delivered a few cinematics during this year, or 1.5 weeks. Redfall cinematic. We've done a lot of stuff. The Outer Worlds 2 was not a cinematic. That's a snippet. All the stuff that we have done as a fully remote studio. So having that in our backpack, we have seen that our efficiency has not gone down during the pandemic. It has stayed strong. So we Goodbye Kansas has adopted now a hybrid solution where you can basically choose where you want to work. Do you want to work at the office or do you want to work at home? It doesn't matter to us. We have the same efficiency. So as long as you be during the day or home, just type that in and what do you do, which is really cool. So we don't really have any like motivation to go back to the Stone Age where we were before. Now we are a remote studio with a proven record that we can deliver during these circumstances, which is really good. Happy artists, we can choose. We're free. So I really think this is the future going forward.
Yeah, that's true. And you can't predict where inspiration strikes you. And I think that's what's important with an art, that you can be inspired at any point. We're now catering to a more free environment, meaning when inspiration catches you, then you execute. And I think that's super cool. And it's good for artists. It's good for anybody who can
It's
leverage the
freedom.
work remotely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
freedom
is.
basically. So now we can pick and choose. So like for me, as like a personal story, I got a go. So being able to work from home during the pandemic and choose my own environment, I've been beside my son like every day from he was born. I haven't missed one baby step that he has taken during his first journey, which is really cool. And that was not able to do before the pandemic. So
Mhm.
that's a big plus.
That's a great story. I love to
Yeah.
hear that. And Lokesh, what does the future of Nvidia look like as far as remote work?
Right. So it is wonderful to hear that Jonas and Goodbye Kansas have been using remote work solutions so productively, and and which is also providing them the freedom to utilize their time more efficiently. We at Nvidia are standing behind remote solutions, virtualization solutions in a big way, uh, particularly because it provides virtualization provides huge advantages for remote work, for security, for also like helping with the budget in a more efficient way, because you can put more density of users on data center cards. Um, uh, going forward, what we are achieving currently and trying to maintain is to have parity in performance as well as micro GPU features with the physical machines and physical GPUs. So have that parity in performance and features with the remote solutions as well. One thing that we covered was we recently launched DLSS with vGPU 13.1, which helps with rendering in a lower resolution, and then using AI to upscale resolution. Another exciting technology that we recently launched is Omniverse. Uh,
Hmm.
so what Omniverse enables is that it uses UST standard to be able to communicate across different applications. So what that enables is gaming studios like Goodbye Kansas can now collaborate among different teams who are using different applications on the same scene at the same time, or be able to collaborate with clients with different gaming studios on the same work, because now you are using UST format, which is standardized across different applications.
Yeah. We at Goodbye Kansas, we love USD. We are doing a big transition into USD as we speak. So we are looking into we're building our own solution of USD. So having that with our remote solution, you can share softwares, materials, being remote. It feels like the world is getting smaller in a sense. Everything is falling into place, I hope.
Yeah, we're really excited about it too here at Terradicino. We're a really good partner of Nvidia, and we've done a lot of work with them on the Omniverse side of things as far as the mechanism for delivery. So Omniverse stays within the data center, and then those collaboration tools are then enhanced by the Terradicino CAS software, meaning, we install the client and the agent very similar to what you're currently doing today, Jonas, but then leveraging Nucleus and the collaboration features within Omniverse has really elevated some of the studios to be able to collaborate at a higher level. And I think that's extremely important too. And collaboration these days used to be, hey, let's go into a meeting room and let's all jump on a screen and we can collaborate together there. We can get our laptops into a room. Yeah, that still will happen. I think that's still happening, but that still needs to happen outside of the office too. With Omniverse, everything is real time, and I think that's really important to a lot of people, is making changes real time and then letting other people make those changes too. Things just reiterate faster. So that's exciting for us too. I think two of the new really exciting things is the ability to be able to collaborate too, leveraging Omniverse or our own internal collaboration tools too. So what's nice about Omniverse is Omniverse has the ability to manage the storage on the back end. So it's able to check in and check out things on demand. You can also leverage Terradicino to be able to collaborate with multiple sessions while Nucleus controls the access to that data. So it's two tools meshed together to create a really amazing experience. And you'll see that next year. We're also launching our zero trust topology, which is more client-based, meaning we're creating a new next generation zero client that's able to securely send those pixels back and forth with zero data at the endpoint. Now, when we say zero data, it's a purpose-built operating system that no other applications can be installed on. So it's something that you can deliver to your artists if you want them in an ultra secure environment. When you look at that, it's more, for the federal space and the state space that are looking for that super secure piece at the endpoint. Leveraging that, we're doing some more audio editions. 5.1, 7.1 is launching very soon. We have our Mac OS agent that just launched in July, and we're making a new version of that coming up in our fiscal year 22. Super exciting there. We're also looking and leveraging some of the new color spectrums and doing some more H265 work. So we're churning things out here at Terradicino. And they're very tailored towards the high graphics experience. And I think leveraging HP is going to be an amazing experience for not just us, but for our customers too. So we're very excited about that.
Same for Goodbye Kansas, because we are like dual users. We do have Windows users, we have Linux users, and we are leveraging both Terradicino solution and the HP solution at the moment. So putting that together is for us all good.
Yeah. It's a powerhouse. I mean, when it comes down to it, put your seatbelts on because we're going to be moving real fast.